All right, shop improvement. Here we go. Okay guys, so let me give you a little bit of background here. I've got a roller table here for my bandsaw. This was actually given to me. This was sitting out in the weather for a long time. You know, it's a little bit rusty. I actually took and built different legs for it because I didn't like how low it sat. I modified it and made it work for my situation. It still needs some TLC to get it up and operating the way I want it to. It's been a great roller table. It's rated at 750 pounds per foot, so it'll hold a lot of weight. The only thing that I wish was different is I wish it was longer. I reached out to Do-All, which is who makes this roller table, and I asked if I could buy another setup just like this one. They sent me back a quote, and they wanted over $5,000 for that roller table. After I gained consciousness back, I decided, you know what, I can do it for way less than $5,000. You know, it's one of those situations where if you can buy it and it's close to what you would have to put the time in to do it, then I'm the type of person I would probably just buy it. $5,000 is not worth it to me. I feel like I could probably build 5 of them for that cost. One of the things I want to do is, in this video, I want to mention everything that I have to put into it. I'm going to mention the cost of everything and break it down so that you guys know this is legitimately what it cost me to build this. I already ordered the rollers. They showed up yesterday. They look great. They're probably a little bit of an upgrade from these ones. And I've also cut a bunch of the parts. The angle cross members are all cut. I've cut the little tabs here for the height adjustment. I have the original feet here that came off of this table. Originally when I got the table with those feet on it, it wouldn't go high enough. So I fabricated these legs that are longer so that I could get it up higher. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fabricate the table legs, this part, with a longer leg, and the slot will be lower, and I will still be able to use these, so I don't have to fabricate new ones. I'll just use these ones, but the table will have a taller leg. That's my plan. The trickiest part of this process, there is a hex slot burned into the channel for the rollers. I did do a test run. My first attempt looked like that because I forgot to change the settings. My second attempt went really well. So there's what the hex looks like. This is actually the same thickness of the web on the channel that I got, which is the same size as this. And the web thickness on this channel is right at 1/8 of an inch, which is good because then I'm able to use my high-speed fine cut tip on the burn table, and it just gives you a much more precise and quality cut on thin material. So that's going to work great for us. So I'm going to take our channel, I'll set it on the burn table, and we'll burn our hex holes on the burn table so that we can get our rollers in here. So that should be pretty slick. I don't really see a need to burn so many because I've never moved these, and I don't plan on moving the one that I'm going to build. So I just wanted to get you guys up to speed on what the project was today and why we're doing it. We're going to start off by getting the channel in here and starting to cut our parts. I'm going to make a cut list real quick. We'll get that channel in here and we'll start cutting. So as far as the channel goes, there's only 6 pieces that need to be cut. 2 pieces that the rollers mount to, 59.5, and then I'm going to go 4 pieces that are 32 inches tall. And that's where our legs, the 3-inch channel, mounts inside the 4-inch channel. I will have to machine the slots in the legs that go on the roller table, and then the adjustable legs that we're going to bolt onto those are already done. So we'll go ahead and get these cut. You guys are seeing firsthand on why I want to get this other roller table built. That operating a full stick and the end on a pipe stand sucks because it hangs up on the pipe stand. You tip the pipe stand over. It's not a safe. It's just a pain in the butt. So I'm pretty excited to get this built so I can roll a full length section in there, and I have all that storage underneath where I can store, you know, shorter 5, 6, 7 foot length pieces and keep myself organized. I always cut the end of the material off because where they've manufactured it, you can see it's all goofy and it's all bent. All right. So I always cut that off so I have a nice square edge to start with. 59. Yeah, see? Pipe stand's hanging up down there. Now I got to go down here and screw with that. Try to smash my finger. Okay, so I was about 6.5 inches short on my channel. So guess what? I am going to splice this. Luckily I got a piece here, so I'm going to cut both ends to square it up. We'll splice that, weld it together, clean it up, and then I'll bring it over here and cut it to length. It's a roller table for me, so. All right, we'll go ahead and get these cut. When we go over to splice this leg, we'll come back to you guys. Okay guys, we're over here at the table and we're getting ready to bevel this stuff to get ready to weld it. Channel is a lot like I-beam. When they manufacture it, it's not perfect. If it's manufactured in a different mill, it could have a little bit taller leg, just a hair, or the thickness could be off a little bit, and they do it by pounds per foot, so it can vary a little bit. So chances are you're not going to get a perfect or two pieces that are exactly the same, especially in this type of situation where I bought one stick a year ago and then this stick today. So we'll go ahead and bevel these and I'll show you guys what the fit up looks like. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that, but this leg right here is just a little bit taller. These ones are pretty close, but that's kind of what I'm talking about. There's just, structural steel is not super accurate. So we're just going to go ahead and get some tacks on this. I am going to weld it up with dual shield. And the way we've beveled this, you can see we should get 100% pen. But I want this surface to be flush, so that's why I want to tack it like this. It's not a big deal if the legs are a little bit off, but we want this surface on the back side to be flush. Okay, so I think it's a way better idea to fit this up on the fireball table. I know it's machined flat, and I've got these fence blocks that I can push it up against to make sure that it's square. So then once I get some tacks on it, I see that it's flat against the table. Then I can take and roll it over. And then I can check that with a straight edge. Just like I would expect, it is perfect. Goodness, love it. Okay, now that this is tacked, I'll probably take this back over there. I don't like getting too much spatter on this table. So I'm going to take this back over to the regular table and we'll go ahead and weld this out. I always like to weld the flange sides first and then weld the web last. This back side, I'm going to try to keep this as flush as possible. I don't want it humped up too bad. So the outside's welded. Now I'll just go ahead and weld the inside. Okay, we're going to let that cool for a bit, and then I'll hit this with a grinder and just clean it up. When I get to that point, I'll come back and give you guys a look. Okay guys, we got her spliced. I didn't have to go through and clean this up like this. I could have left it just with the welds the way they were, but I figured what the heck. Okay, so it's not perfect, but it's going to work for what we're doing. And I'm going to put this one on the back side where I'm the only one that knows it's there. Well, me and all of you. But I'm hoping you guys won't judge me for it. Okay, so the next order of business, we got our channel legs here. And then I brought one of these feet over. Now, we want to copy the pattern for these slots. I've measured these, and I'm going to go an inch off the bottom of the leg before the slot starts. And the slots are 2.5 inches long, 9/16 wide. I'm going to go ahead and mark these out first, just so I know that I'm on track. We'll throw them in the mill, and we'll mill the slots. So let's see if we can get this done. Okay guys, I mean, I'm all for machining. It's cool, it's fun. But if I can do something in half the time or a quarter of the time, I'm going to do it. And I don't know why this didn't hit me before, but I was like, why don't I just burn these? If I'm going to burn the hex holes in the side rails, why wouldn't I burn the slots in the legs? So I'm a little slow, all right?
You'll have to excuse my friend. He's a little slow.
So I've got a piece of channel here. I've lined it up with the laser. Someone made a comment in the last video that they use their burn table. They have a fixture in their burn table, and so they're able to just slide parts up against it. It's square to the machine. So they're able to slide parts up against it and burn slots and holes like this. I thought that was a good idea. I personally don't think I would want to put a permanent fixture, because I'm always having to put, you know, full 5x10 sheets on here, and it would just be kind of a pain to have to move it all the time. But I do like that idea. I like the idea of having some sort of a fixture to where I can put it in. So I've basically just done a temporary fixture here. This piece is square to the table, and I've made a soapstone mark, so I can just put my legs on here, line up the end with the soapstone mark. The machine is zeroed to this corner, and then I hit cut, and it should burn this pattern. So let's give it a try. I'll give you guys an up-close look, and then we'll be able to see how it does. Hopefully you can see that it's drafted up there, so it should burn the slots just the way we want it to. So let's give this a try and see what happens. Okay, so you can see my laser, it's right on my mark there. So I've marked 0, now we're going to cut. Okay, so now if I'm careful, I'll just gently slide that leg out of the way, gently slide the second one in, hit the cut button, and it'll just continue to cut those, and we'll be done just like that. Then we'll move over to our hex holes. So I'll get these all knocked out, and then we'll come back and show you guys how I plan on cutting the hex holes. Pretty much the same operation, but we'll give you guys a look. All right, here we go. We've got it marked. Here we go. Let's see how this goes. They're not perfect, but I will be able to clean those up with I'll probably just take a square file and clean those up, and they're going to work just fine. Now, before I move that one, I think I'm going to take the second one, and I'll just slide it right up against this one gently with, trying not to move it. And then I'll check to make sure that it's still in line, and I'll burn that one. When we're done burning these parts, I'll meet you guys over at the table, and we'll start talking about how we're going to start fitting this up. All right, guys, so we got our frame here on the table. I've cleaned up all the slag off of everything. I got my fireball square here. I think I'm going to purchase a second one of these because I find myself using this one all the time, and I wish I had two. So I think I'm going to get a second one of those. And I really like the cast iron one. It is a little scary because I don't want to drop it and ding it, but it's awesome. Love this thing. I'm pulling 3 3/4 off the end of the top piece of channel to the edge of the leg. I'm just following the measurements off of the one that I have. So I'm going to build this in 2 halves. I'm going to build this half and probably weld this out, and then I'll build the other half, and then we'll start putting all of our angle iron reinforcement in the middle just to tie everything together. But we're going to build it in 2 halves basically. I'll go ahead and stand this up now, I think. So I'll go ahead and weld these parts here, and then I'll weld the inside. Okay, then on this back side, I'm going to gouge these out and fill those up. We'll grab a hard disc, gouge those out a little bit, weld that up. Okay, so I'm just going to hit these with a wire wheel, knock the slag off, knock the spatter off, tip that over, and then we'll go ahead and weld up the second one just like this. Once we get them welded up and we're ready to start fitting the structure in between, we'll come back to you. Oh yeah, ha ha ha, it's fireball time. All right, I want to walk you guys through how I got this set up. I was trying to fit it up on my regular table, and it just wasn't working. So I moved everything over here, and I've got everything rigged up here to where I'm going to get everything tacked up and keep everything square and plumb. So let me show you guys what I'm doing. All right, so I've got my pusher set up here, and I'm using that to push it tied up against the fence blocks. You see I got a stopper here and a stopper here, so I know that they're in line. And then it works out, because this is 18 inches on the inside, that I can put my fence blocks in and I get exactly 18 on the spacing. I've got clamps on both sides. I've checked the legs that they are plumb, and they are. So now I'm ready to start tacking my angle pieces that go in the middle. And I've got a little stacked fence block here so that I know I can just butt it right up against that. And then I'm going to put a level on this and then tack it. So there's 2 of those that go on here that hold this assembly together, and then we've got a couple here that we'll have to tack on, but we're going to start here. So let's see if we can get these tacked up. I also have my fireball spacers that I've set up underneath here. Okay, now we can start working on these. So I got to go over and get the measurements off of that one so that I can get the same elevation. I like where they're at, so I'm not going to change anything there, but I do need to see how far from the top we need to come down. So we're working on getting our cross braces in. I'm actually going to weld these on leg in. The other ones are leg out. I just like the way it looks with the leg going in. You can see I've got my elevation marks here. That's 12 inches off the top and then 20 inches. And that's pretty close to what they've got going over there. It really is just amazing how much easier this kind of stuff is on a fixture table. Blows my mind. In case I didn't mention it, this is just 2x2 by quarter angle. Just in case anybody out there decides to build one of these and wants to stick it to the man like I did. Two more to go. I'm trying to decide if I want to paint this or not. It'd probably look good painted, but raw metal might look good too. I don't know. Okay, I've got one more that goes from here to here, and it's a piece of angle that ties the two together. But I think I'm gonna flip this over and tack that up. It'll be a lot easier than doing it upside down. We got it all tacked up. This is the main structure. The only thing left is I do have to weld those little tabs on here that have the threaded hole in them so that I can adjust it up and down and level the table, but I can do that at the very end. I still need to drill and tap those pieces. I'm gonna get all this stuff cleaned up. I'll put it back over on the big table and we'll flip it over and I'll tack this piece in. Okay, so this piece of angle welds here. We get a tack on this end because it's good. All that's left to do now is to weld it out. So I'm going to go ahead, and shouldn't take me long. I can weld all the flats that I need to right here. I'll roll it over, just position it, weld everything out. So we'll go ahead and weld this out. Okay guys, we're over here at the mill. I've got my little rectangle pieces. These are 1/2 inch plate. Burned these the other day. I did get them marked and got a center punch there. So I've got 2 in the vise. Figured I'd put 2 in there at a time just to go a little faster. I'm going to center drill them first because I want the hole to stay centered. I don't want it to walk on me. So we're going to go ahead and drill these. I'll go ahead and show you guys the process that I'm going to use to drill and tap one of these, and then we'll go ahead and knock out the other 3. So we'll get that center drilled, and then we'll take our 27/64 drill bit, because we're going to run a 1/2-13 bolt in these. The tap and drill chart says use a 27/64 bit. Let's go fast. So I just turned my speed down to about 100 RPM. I like using this anchor lube because it sticks. So that's pretty much it. Pretty quick, painless. I think on the next one I'm going to turn my speed down, because I think if I turn my speed down it'll have a little bit more torque, and I think we'll be able to just drive it in one pass. So we'll go ahead and finish these other 3, and when we're ready to go over and weld these tabs on the roller table, we'll catch up to you. Got all these threaded, cleaned up. I took a chamfer bit, cleaned up both sides. Now I'm just going to hold this, I'm just going to eyeball this center this way and get a tack on it, because the top of those little feet has a pretty big opening, and I'd really have to screw it up to not be able to hit that. So I think I can eyeball it and get it close enough. Just put a tack in the corner, and I can still move this if I need to. But I want to check this way and this way. I can see it's out a little bit. And I think if I put a tack here, so now I can, okay, I like it right there. So now I think I want to get some tacks on this side. Now I got a good tack on it. It should be square. She's good and square. Okay, we'll get all these tacked up and ready to go, and then we're ready to start assembling. I think that's it. So the next order of business once we get these in is we're going to have to grab a square file and start filing our hexagon slots out and try to start getting our rollers to fit. So I'll come back to you when I get all these fit up. All right, here we are. We are assembling this. I got some 1/2 by 1.5 inch, just regular grade 5 hardware, 2 flat washers, and a nylock. That's how I'm attaching these. So we're getting this all assembled. We're not too far. I got to run to the hardware store and get some threaded bolts or some all thread for these 1/2 inch holes, and they got to be like 5 or 6 inches long. I've got a square file here. And that's what I'm using to square up these. And if I knock that down, it's doing a pretty good job. So I really don't think I'm going to have to fight it much. Haven't showed you guys these yet. So here's the rollers. They are stinking beautiful. Thing of beauty right here. And these ones are heavy duty. They're rated for like 700 pounds a piece or something. They've got 11/16 hex rod on the ends. The bearings come pre-greased, but I've been impressed. I ordered them from McMaster Car. You can see one end is spring-loaded. Probably gonna have to show these some love. It's gonna take some time, but we'll go ahead and file those down, get them all squared up nice, get them to where they'll accept this rod, and then we can get those installed, get the bolts from the hardware store, and then we're ready to put it over there. The worst part of this deal is I gotta clean that up over there. Maybe we'll get some video of that situation, or maybe we'll just get some video after it's done. But that's all we got left. So when I get back from the hardware store and I get the bolts in and I get the rollers installed, I'll come back and give you guys one more look at the assembly of our roller table here. So we'll catch you guys in a few. Well, that was a riot. Getting those in there. I will say this, if you are considering building one of these, I would probably consider taking it to a shop with a laser and having them laser burn the hex holes for the rollers. Because having to grind each one of those out with an end grinder and then touch up all the corners with a file, I mean, they fit. I made them dang near perfect. But whew, that took me 2 hours just to put the rollers in. I am happy with how it turned out. If I put a level on this and roll it across here, all the rollers are working. There is no teeter. I'm trying to find a spot where it's teetering and I'm getting no teeter. So I think we did exactly what we set out to do. If I look down this, it looks pretty much perfect. So I think those baby blue feet are pretty sharp. So still haven't decided if I want to paint it. Let's be honest, I doubt it's going to get painted. I'll probably just stick it over there and use it. And for the rest of my life, I'll think, maybe I should paint that, and I probably won't. So, but I am happy with how it turned out. I am going to get it cleaned up over there, and I do want to show you guys some footage of me rolling a full stick of something across it. So, we'll catch you guys tomorrow when we get that all cleaned up over there and organized and set up, and then we'll show you guys what we set out to accomplish. Okay guys, so I got the roller table all put in place and I started organizing everything, and it was one of those situations where I knew there was something that I could do to make it better, and I almost tried to talk myself out of it just because I knew it was going to be quite a bit more work, but I also knew that it would make it a lot better. So I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna bite the bullet. I'm gonna do it. So what I did was I designed a plate that's gonna lay across the top supports underneath the rollers, and I'm gonna bend it on the outside and the inside. So the two long sides, I'm gonna bend it to give it some structural support. And then I'll actually weld it to the cross members on the two ends. So that's the plan. So let me grab that piece of plate. We'll come over here and bend it. It's 44 3/4 of an inch that we have to bend. The total width of it is 48. So it will just barely fit in here. So it's going to be perfect. So I'll grab those pieces and we'll bend those right now. And I also decided, since I'm doing it, I might as well do it to both of them. So I'm going to bend 2 pieces and weld one on both, and I'll show you what the benefit of this is going to be. Hey! So I actually had to call Iroquois because I couldn't figure out how to save it, how to save a program. Iroquois has always been really good to deal with. Their technician walked me through it on the phone and sent me a video. It was good. So now I'm able to save programs on there, and I can just pull up a program for A36 3/16 steel, hit the button, and it saves all the settings. So all I have to do is enter the width of the part, so the machine makes the adjustment on tonnage, and then I'm good to go. So pretty cool. Probably should have done it sooner, but to be honest, one of the things that's allowed me to do it is the fact that I'm doing this full time, and I'm able to catch up on all this stuff that usually goes put by the wayside because I'm busy working on other things, and I got to capitalize on my time. See how the adjustment worked out. It looks good. Sunbee. Money. Okay. One down. So I think what I'll do is I'll walk this one over, check the fit, show you guys how it's going to fit in place, and then I do have to clean up the paint on the one a little bit, get it ready for weld. So we'll go over there and I'll show you guys how it's going to fit. I've got a bit of a mess over here right now. Sure hope I didn't just do this thinking I could get it in here. It's kind of looking like I did though. I gotta figure this out. Okay, so I had 2 options. I could either cut one of these supports out, one of these ones, so that I could slide this in, get it in place, lift it up, put this one back in place, tack it, and re-weld it. Or I cut a little piece off the corner here. That gives me just enough room that I can get it up in here and lay it in place. So that's what I went with. Instead of cutting the cross member out, I'll just take this piece. I've got this beveled already. I'll get it in place and then I'll weld this back in place. It's probably not necessary, but if I weld it back in place, then I'm able to weld this to the frame and it will just help support that corner. So that's what I'm gonna do. If I would have made up my mind to do this while I was building that one, it would have been really easy. But like I said, I like doing things the hard way. That's why I'm a welder. Stay in school, kids. Okay. Oh yeah. It's just like that. Boom. I just figured I'd put 3 stitches on the end and then weld here on this vertical. Call it good. So that shelf's going to be awesome for stacking material. You can see it fits in there nice. This is what it was supposed to look like. Fit in there nice like that. And then I'd be able to weld all 4 legs right there. And then like I said, I'm going to do 3 stitch welds here. You can see where I had to cut that just a little bit so that I could fit it up in here. I am going to pull it back out, hit the paint spots, grind the paint off so I can weld it. And then when we get ready to weld these, we'll come back to you. Okay guys, we're all set up here. I dragged the Arc Captain MiG 205 MP over. They're light, they're small. It's a good machine to use on the run. Where I'm tucked up in the corner over here and I don't have a whole lot of room for me to have to drag the Miller 255 over here. There's not a whole lot of room for that. So for me to be able to set up this little machine and I can just pick it up and move it where I need to, this is one of the strengths of the little Art Captain machines in my opinion. So I've got this set up according to the chart. So we are running mixed gas. I'm running solid wire and it's on 24.5 volts and 580 inches a minute. We're gonna see how she runs. I had it set on spool gun. Rookie move. Now she's working. Okay, I've also got all my stitches laid out. I'm gonna go through and get this all tacked first, just like I always do. And then after I get it tacked, I'll just go through and run them. There! It's alive! Okay, all that's left to do, I am gonna piece those pieces back in. I knew you guys knew that I would. My OCD can't handle it. I'd be laying there at 2 in the morning and I'd wake up and come out here in my skivvies to weld it up because I couldn't stand it. So I'm just gonna do it now and then I don't have to wake up in the middle of the night. Okay, well, we got those welded in place. Now all that's left to do is to clean up this mess. It's amazing to me how when you bend a leg on a piece of plate like this, how much stronger it gets. And I just welded the verticals right here. I did weld that little corner piece back in. You guys knew I would. Threw a couple stitches on the end and just welded the verticals. So all it's got to do is hold it in place. So it is a good looking son of a gun, if I do say so my dang self. The thing I like about this setup is I'm able to stick short pieces in this way on the shelf. Down here I can stick long pieces that are like 6-7 feet long. And then down below I can put some of this other heavier stuff. So it just gives you a lot of options to store your material. We'll see if we can get this mess cleaned up and then we'll come back and give you guys one last look once we do. All right, guys, we got that done. We've organized everything. I threw a ton of stuff away. I'm not really sure why I kept it. Just a lot of stuff that was really small. So what I've got going here is on the top shelf on this roller table, I've got anything under about 20 inches. So all the smaller stuff, I just stacked and organized there. And then down on the bottom, anything that's like that 2 to 3 foot range, I've got that stacked and organized. This is all the larger stuff, like 3-inch and up, square tube. And then I've stuck the longer pieces that are like 6 feet in this lower rack, and then on the top rack, this is all that awkward length that's between 3 and 4 feet that would fall through before, but now it won't. So I'll give you guys an up close look here. So the thing about all this material is it's only good to you if you know what you have. And that's why I like to be organized and I like to know what I have. Because if I don't know that I've got something and then I run out and buy some more, that's money out of my pocket. So I did stack some of the larger stuff down there on the bottom rack too. And then I went ahead and swept everything up. I want to show you guys how this works. So this is actually pretty slick. No matter which way I go, so if I slide it this way, there's already enough material that way that it's not gonna fall. It's not really even close to falling because I've got 4 feet here and probably 10 feet there. Same thing if I go this way. By the time the material gets to where it's gonna leave the last roller, there's already, the equilibrium is already passed, so it can't fall. One of the reasons I did it this way, meaning spread the roller tables apart, is I've got this metal rack here with 20-foot lengths on it, or 24-foot lengths, and I still need to be able to get 2 people in here to get that off. Or get myself in here to grab it in the middle. So I can still get in the middle, or I can have a guy go in there and get that end, and a guy go down here and get this end. Or if they're half sticks for some reason, you can grab here and you can grab there. So I can still get in here with them spaced apart instead of having them together. I just figured somebody would probably ask, why didn't you just bolt them up together? Well, that's why. Pretty happy with it. I'm excited. I like that it's organized. I think it's going to be better for us, better for workflow. We'll spend less money because we'll know better what we have. So I think that's going to wrap this one up. Thanks as always for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. See you on the next one. So I'm going to take the channel, I'll set it on the burn table, and I will have to machine and cap, and throw them in the end mill. Goodness. So that's my plan. So we'll go ahead and do that when all this stuff's done. So when we're done burning this, I'm not going to get too crazy with that because there's hardware going in all of these. They look good though, so goodness, I'm rambling. It's awesome. Love this thing. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and fit this up with Fireball Square. I'm pulling 3 3/4 inch. I'm pulling 3 3/4 of an inch off. All right, so we're going to go ahead and fit this. I'm going to fit it in 2 halves, and then I'll start putting everything together, weld the angle iron I turned the welder off. All right. Love this. Love it. I've got some 1/2 by 1.5 inches. I'm just going to throw that on the floor because I like to bend over.